things are moving along. There's been more findings in Vermont for infestations, and it's within 30 to 40 miles around us now. Known infestations is more likely even closer. I just drove through Ohio and New York State, and it's an eye-opener. They have lots of ash out there, but they don't anymore. It's all dead. So a couple things. I'm working with some of the tree wardens in surrounding towns, and they're making recommendations to their select boards as well. The utilities, Green Mountain Power, their latest request for a rate up increase is partly due to emerald ash borer, so they're looking at it as a significant expense, and don't know what, where we're going to fall with the utilities. We have 1,600 ash trees in town right-of-ways, and a lot of those are also in utility right-of-ways. I don't have a number on that, but it's still not clear at this point how much they'll take care of and how much we'll get stuck with. And some of the couple of recommendations that I've seen, and one that I have, I threw out the idea of starting a reserve fund last year, and I still like that idea for a couple of reasons, but there's a couple of other ways to do it. One would be just putting an amount in the budget for tree removal, but the trouble with putting it in the budget is if you don't use it that year, you lose it. Whereas a reserve fund, you can build up the funds, and then you can always dissolve the fund later if you don't use it. But so I lean toward the reserve fund as far as money goes. Some of the other towns are just preemptively starting to take out their ash trees now. It's definitely going to be cheaper to do it sooner rather than later, and so in planning for the road crew trees that they figure they're going to take out, it's never too soon to start at this point. And there's definitely going to be trees that the road crew's not going to want to do, and it's going to have to be done by tree companies, and once everything starts dying, they're going to get pretty busy and pretty expensive. So,
have you been monitoring the ash trees in the area? I mean, in the town?
Well, it hasn't been discovered yet around here. I looked at a couple trees in Dorset the other day that I looked at and said, because it is, I mean, it's there the bug is there for 4 or 5 years before it even gets discovered sometimes.
But you have an idea where the ash trees are, where the problems are probably going to be in town?
Well, almost every road has ash trees, so there's some that have more than others. I don't have locations, but I think one of the things we should do is start locating the ones that are going to be problem trees.
Right. And I guess so I was going to go with that was if you could work in direct connection with Matthew. And
kind of the whole problem with it is by the time you realize that they're hit with it, they're pretty well gone, and then they're dangerous at that point anyway. So
that's why towns are starting to take them out while they're still healthy, just knowing it's going to be a lot safer and cheaper than later.
Would it make sense to target ones that are definitely out of the right-of-way of the power lines? Because there is a possibility that there might be an overlap with their removal.
I would think so. I mean, we still don't know what the utilities are going to take care of, but definitely,
Start with the ones that are
definitely
away from the lines.
and the ones that definitely are hazard or lean over the road or whatever, stuff like that.
We had actually just had a meeting with state and Green Mountain Power officials 2 weeks ago, and the only time that the utilities are doing it is when it's in certified infected area, because it's the only way they can get their funding for it. places up by like Montpelier and Bristol, they just found some in Bristol,
Yeah.
Colchester. So if we don't have any hint, they're not going to come down here and just start taking trees because the funding. I don't remember what the guy said. It was a few $100,000 that they were just dedicated just to the Montpelier area.
Yeah. Yeah, the utilities, the Green Mountain Power is probably looking at millions.
Oh yeah, they're the guy said they were through the roof. They were scrambling.
Yeah.
So
I think, I've thrown out a figure, I think I threw out a couple $100,000 just for the town if we had to take care of every tree. You know, it could be a lot less than that. Trees that are in the right of way, but they lean away from the road and they're not a danger to anything, then, you know, we can pick and choose to some extent, but.
Right.
Is there any state or federal programs to get any money for it? Yep.
Not yet.
No.
we're pretty low risk right now, and there's a lot of states that are
Yeah.
Already in
they're toast.
So in terms of budget for this year, there's not really anything we can do, but we should certainly make a decision about it before budget talks start.
Yeah, I'd like to have
so
probably another talk this fall before budget time and decide whether, you know, again, I'd like to see a reserve fund rather than a budget item, unless we're gonna start doing work
So that's
now,
something
and
we
that
have
could
to
be in
bring
the
up at
budget.
town
but-
meeting.
I know one thing too is what
An item on the warning.
they really harped on was it's not an if but a when kind of situation. It's not like it's might happen because there's no real telling it. Like you said, there's 3-4 years before you even start maybe possibly telling that you're getting the trees are infected. By that time
And
it's
then they go really fast.
yeah.
Yeah, they die over like a 5-year period, but, you know, pretty much 10 years from now, we're gonna be seeing dead trees.
It'd probably be a good idea for the road crew to start taking notes of ash trees that are not in the power companies
Mm-hmm.
right away and could easily be taken down if need be.
Yeah, I think that would be a good
Do you already
place
have
to
a
start.
list of some of the trees?
What's that?
Do you already have a list of trees that you can
No,
pass on?
I just did counts.
Yeah.
I think I drove like 60% of the roads and did counts and done it.
Roadside mowing would be a great time to do that probably because you're going slow enough where you can
Yep.
keep an eye out for it.
It's good to, you know, as far as identifying the trees, leaves off is a lot easier. So, you know, maybe this fall or winter, if there's a slow time to start, we could GPS the worst trees and.
They do. The state actually has a. I don't know if it's an app or something, but they do have some sort of system that they have that you can go around and plot them, and you get on their map system, and it highlights it. I got some of that stuff written down at the class that we went to. You can share it with everybody once I figure out what it is, but off the top of my head, I don't have it. But they do have ways. There's other towns proactively. You know, people are just driving around back roads and not necessarily counting, but estimating what kind of population we have. And I know ever since we had the class, it's pretty much the only tree I noticed, so. We have quite a few.
Yeah, so it averages out to about 35 trees a mile of our town roads.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like we're pretty much at that point where we've sort of estimated it. Now we need to start narrowing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
The exact locations and.
Yeah.
Okay.